Sometimes while trying to uncover the ancient mysteries of civilization, archaeologists make grim and even horrifying and shocking discoveries. On January 8, 2019, in England, one such find filled the presses. With word that skilled archaeologists had uncovered a 1,700-year-old cemetery, dating back to the Roman era, which contained a significant discovery of many skeletons. With a substantial number of them found beheaded, with the skulls placed neatly at their sides, or at their feet, archaeologists wondered as to why. With no reason as to why so many skeletons were decapitated, most archaeologists believe that they were related to a local ancient cult or unusual belief of the time. The spine-chilling, yet exciting find was discovered as part of a routine inspection of the site by Archaeological Solutions, before a planned housing development broke ground. The ancient burial site was found during a dig in Great Well Netham, near Bury St Edmunds. The excavation of the cemetery was a momentous revelation to the team, and soon they realized that a great many of the remains had been beheaded. In total, some 52 skeletons were found, including men, women and children, with the sum of 17 of these remains being decapitated. Archaeologists have approximated that the final resting place dates back to the 4th century, when the area was located inside of the Roman Empire, during the reign of Flavius Valerius Constantinus, otherwise known as Constantine the Great. A densely populated area of its time, the remains most likely lived in one of the many major settlements in what was a rich agricultural region, and are believed to be that of the Romano-Britons, who lived at Great Well Netham, which may date back as early as the 1st century. The finding of decapitated human skeletons is not unusual in Roman-era burials, however, to find such a high percentage is most unusual, with the number of decapitated remains representing up to 40% of the recorded graves at the site. But it's not just the sheer high number of decapitated burials that have scientists and archaeologists baffled, and is not the only unorthodox discovery found at this location. As many of these burials are not atypical of the period, and do not keep to the burial rites of the vast majority of the finds from the 4th century Roman era, and as it maybe could be classified as deviant burials. Actions that were usually implemented and linked with marginalized groups such as criminals, intruders, and even those deemed to be witches, who were not recognized as part of the Commonwealth, or were considered as a threat to the community at large. The treatment of the deceased at this cemetery, however, does not demonstrate that they were viewed as deviants nor as threats. The remains were interred with care, and there is evidence of rituals that would suggest that the deceased were part of a community, and would seem to exclude them as outsiders or threats. Moreover, it is believed that the decapitated remains were not those of executed criminals because the heads were removed from the bodies post-mortem, and the incisions are not found to be consistent with an execution by beheading. The field experts shows that the decapitated remains, and other curious burial practices, would illustrate that they had discovered signs of funeral rites possibly associated with a belief system, cult, or other practice that came with a group that had moved into the region. It seems reasonable to believe that the removal of heads, and other funerary practices, discovered here would imply that a local settlement had their own unique belief system, a very peculiar part of their culture, that followed a very distinct religious custom of burial. The skeletons have since been removed and have been analyzed in order to provide better understanding and further insights into Romano-British settlements in the area during the late Roman Empire. The initial analysis has revealed that the dead were mostly middle-aged adults when they died and were most likely physically strong, well-nourished, many with poor oral health, with some dying of tuberculosis, demonstrating that they were probably farmers or farm laborers. The remarkable find of so many decapitated skeletons is very significant, showing that there was a great diversity in funerary rites in Roman Britain. Apparently, the local settlement had developed their own practices, or were members of a cult that was unique to the area or had come with a group of outsiders. The find demonstrates the great diversity that existed in Roman British society in the 4th century. But only time will uncover the full length of human mysteries. So tell me, are you interested in the practices of the early lost civilizations? Do you think these individuals were executed by the Roman Empire, or part of something much larger? Comment below and let me know your thoughts. But until next time, for more otherworldly mysteries and the paranormal, subscribe now to Interstellar Happenings, your source for universal news.
Mystery.